and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147, and it's time to work on walking in the rain. So I've just set this up on my easel and it's big. I have finished up sort of this section, I think, from when we did the last WIP and Waffle, but it has been a busy week for me this last week. So while I have had some diamond painting time in with it, I haven't had huge amounts of time where I could do this sort of painting. I have completed a few paint gem minis when I've sort of finished working at 8, half 8, something like that. So I have got a few mini ones done, but no big ones. I will say the change I did on my symbols at the end of last week's video has worked wonders. So I used it for that far end section and did all the yellows, the blues, and the red symbols first, and it worked absolutely fantastic for that confetti section. You may think, why am I not using it for this one? Well, there is a valid reason. For this one, there is some of those yellows and blues here, but for one section of the painting, if I sectioned it sort of off with the last bits, is really here. Sort of there. That's where I was gonna section it off for today, but actually I might still do it. I was gonna say there is only a bit of it going into this next one, but there is probably enough of it to still be worth it. So we're gonna go for this section today, which doesn't contain any of those. So it still works because it means I'm only dealing with 2 cases of diamonds and not, or 2 trays of diamonds and not 3, because I can ignore the blues and the yellows and things. This is the start, potentially, of some of those blocky sections across the top where the colours come in. There is still quite a few different symbols in with this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, 5 different colours that I can see, or shades that I can see within this section. So I'm going to start with the biggest one. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law are due around later on this afternoon. Well, in about an hour and a half they're nipping round, so I thought that's perfect time to do a WIP and Waffle before they come round, and we'll have some family visit time. So I am sort of limited on how much. Otherwise I was very tempted, and which is why I did it at first, of pulling that part back and basically doing the red section with you guys. But yeah, I do have family rounds or coming round, so rather than stop and start and then forget what I've chatted to you all about and what I haven't and where I'm up to, I'll just do this smaller section. We've still got just over an hour to do some diamond painting, so we'll see how this goes, and we'll see how much I get completed throughout this next week. I have still got another week of working on walking in the rain within the week before I kit up my new big painting, because I do film all my videos at the weekend, so I've got another full week. And hopefully I will get a few more evenings to be able to work on this and get a bit more progress before next week's. And then I will have a couple of days the week after, while I'll have kitted up my next painting by then. I like to start it the day the video comes out. I feel like it gives me those extra few little pockets of time that I may be able to get a little bit of progress on this to keep it as a long ongoing project, but not making it too long is the idea. Sorry, I think Luna may just be barking at the girls. She started last night with the odd time of barking up the stairs at the girls, just because she wanted them to say hello, and they were upstairs and she was downstairs. So I think she may have a new pattern, which could be entertaining. Right. Miranda, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she hopes that I am doing good. She said she hasn't tried a painting with a large amount of colours, like the one I'm tackling right now. She says, but she did order her first mystery kit this week. It was the Jeremiah Kettner. She says she would love to hear tips on doing one of those. The mystery is actually, a mystery kit is loads easier than what you would think. It can, with some people, not with all, but it can be a little bit confusing in the fact that the symbols don't have any colour background for you to be able to sort of differentiate the symbols quite as easily. So I can quite easily ignore these symbols here because they're pink rather than red, but I do still have a few that are red, and some that sort of cross that borderline reddy pink. But of course I can visually discard those pink really easily, whereas if it was symbols you have to look sort of a bit closer. If it's also a Diamond Art Club one, they do have some colour on the background of some of the symbols, but it's not just like one symbol. It's like the coloured squares are on the canvas, so you could have, I'm working on a square symbol now, you could have a square symbol with a white background, a square symbol with a blue background, and a square symbol with a yellow background, and a pink one, and they're actually all the same symbol, and you should be putting the same colour diamond down. So the one thing that I did do when I did a mystery was I did work for quite a while. I only sped up, you know, once I got familiar with the canvas and the symbols, and, you know, and my brain adjusted, should we say, to the canvas itself. I worked on smallish sections. So for me, when I diamond paint on an evening, and this varies per person, so you sort of, if you take what you normally do and then shrink it down. So for an evening, I will normally pull back 2 or 3 pieces of cover paper. And my cover paper is 7.5 centimetres by 10 centimetres. So I will pull back 2 or 3 of them as my diamond painting for that evening. And that will vary partly depending on, you know, if I've got to be diamond painting sat down at around 7 or beforehand, then I will often peel back 3. But sometimes it will still only be 2 if it's a very confetti heavy section. I will maybe only peel back 2 because they take a little bit more brain power, and I know they're going to take me longer because I'm going to be dipping in and out of my diamonds. So I'll only peel back 2 cover paper sections. Sometimes the likes of my round koala, I think it was actually 4 cover paper sections that I peeled off each time. Might have even been 5, but I was multi-placing. There was a lot of blocking, a bit like this has got quite a bit of blocking, but I was multi-placing with it. And I did start diamond painting before 7, so I peeled back basically a full row. But with the mystery, for quite a long time, in fact more than halfway through the painting, I just peeled back one cover paper section at a time. So sort of take what you would do, what cover paper you'd peel back on a complicated section, should we say, which for me, a complicated confetti section, I'd peel back 2 and half it. And start with that as your sort of size. If you find that it's, you know, feels a bit, you're looking all over the place, then maybe shrink down your section. But as you get used to it, you'll be able to peel back more. And I was ending up with the same amount peeled back when I decided to just concentrate on that painting and finish it, which is when I put it on my drafting table. Was it between Christmas and New Year, maybe? When I decided to put it on my drafting table as the main painting I was working on, after a couple of times of just doing one section, I decided that I was familiar enough with the symbols, with the concept, with the way it all worked, and I peeled back more. So yeah, just start smaller and enjoy the process. Enjoy going through it. I found, I wouldn't say it took a huge amount longer to do than other paintings. Quite often when I was doing one section, I would then do a different diamond painting, or maybe a second section, or a paint gem mini or something after finishing my section on my mystery. But when I first started doing it, I was spreading it out on purpose as well to keep it going for a bit longer. So yeah, just start smaller, but it's not that hard to grasp. It's a really good sort of different type of challenge without being too challenging. Mysterious Days, she says she is finally getting to watch this after a few sessions and busy days. She says she has a ton of motivation for working on school towards her GED. Awesome. She says, along with some extras, she says, like helping prepare for work, money, college, etc. So it's a lot of hours, time and focus, but it's entirely worth it. Yes, always worth it. She says, in other news, she has finished 2 diamond paintings. She's finished the Art Dot Butterfly in advanced size. She says the drill quality absolutely killed her. And she is almost done with a budget Groot and the Iron Gauntlet. She said it's so crazy how fast a 30 by 40 canvas can work up if it's a lot of colour blocking and you can focus on it. She says, and she's dyed her hair. She says, just money pieces, she says, in the front, but in bright purple. Awesome. She says, with her natural brunette colour. She said she's also growing out an undercut and had a hint of purple for over a year, she says, and she missed it. She says her without constant hair changes just really isn't herself. Well, I'm so happy you're being true to yourself and doing what works for you. Sounds like fun. Not brave enough for me to do, but definitely sounds like fun. Susan, she says she is very far behind. She said, thanks for the heads up on the JD Robb book released last month, which was released in January. We're now in March. This comment was left in February. She says she's currently rereading the entire series and only has about 8 to go. So it'll be great to add the new one at the end. She said, so glad that you're not going to change the WIP and Waffle. She says, perhaps to avoid questions every time, you do an intro that goes something along the lines of, welcome to today's WIP and Waffle, where I work on my current work in progress while waffling on about whatever subjects come up. That is an idea, actually. She says, all new updates on the Add More Zest shop. Yes, that is a good thing. I'll see if I can sort of start slipping it in 2 videos every now and then and get it to the point where it feels natural and a bit more of a habit to add in. And I get a flow of what's a good way to sort of add it in. But it is. I think I tried to do a little bit of an intro on Sundays. I don't know whether it's from reading your comments, Susan, in like a previous email, because I do read the comments when they sort of come through on email to me. I give them sort of a quick once over, should we say, but then I tend to, of course, do them. Oh, I did try and chuck out those 2 drills that weren't any good. Yeah, so sorry, I do read them when they come through on email, sort of give them a quick glance over, but I don't tend to read, like, I suppose, slower and properly until the WIP and Waffle, so that they are sort of fresh. But yeah, on Sunday I did do a mini introduction, so whether it's from reading your comment on an email or discussions with hubby over the best way to you know, combine YouTube with the shop and with my time, etc. Yeah, because it's something I'd like to do for most videos, is sort of an introduction into what I'm doing or what that video is going to be about. It's just partly getting in the habit of doing that as I go along. But yeah, I need to try and put a bit more in my descriptions as well, so we'll see if I get that done. But yes, it's a very good idea, Susan. As long as I can keep it short, sweet, concise, help anybody that's new but not bore anybody that's not, and try and vary it up a little bit. I'll try and fit that in to videos going forward. Oh, excuse me. Amanda, she says, hey, Mrs. Rebecca. She says, sorry, she has been missing in action on commenting. Life gets in the way sometimes, Amanda. But it is nice to see a familiar face back in the comments. She says she's been watching, but unfortunately her cousin is still going through health issues. This has got in the way along with her own health issues. She says, so not a fantastic time for them as of late. Hopefully they'll feel better eventually. Yes, let's hope the rest of 2024 will become your year. She said, by the way, what diamond painting pen are you using for walking in the rain? She would love to purchase one if she can. I don't know which one was in the comment that you were, the walking in the rain that you were watching. I'm guessing it's the pink and purple pen. This is the one that I'm guessing it is. This was last month's limited edition pen, which did actually sell out super quick. As of yet, our supplier hasn't been able to get us a load more. I did make a little bit of a mix up with some orders. They were able to find a couple of them for me so that I could fix those, but they haven't had like a decent restock that I can order a batch so that they can be available once more. Because it was extremely popular. So if a pen is extremely popular, we do try to get them in again. The wooden pen that we stock in our shop was a launch pen once. It was a limited edition pen, but it sold that quickly and was that highly requested that it actually became a stock pen. But with that one, we were able to get more from our supplier. So we will try and get some more, but it's just whether our supplier can get hold of some more for us, so that we can sort of do a rerun or maybe pop some into stock, depending on either how many they can get us or whether it's an item that they can provide regularly. We will have to see. All Things Crafted by Kaz. She says, hi. She said, it's me again. She says, have you thought about hybrid pens, resin and wood? They would be something that would be nice to do. At the moment, things like that would take a lot of research. Resin and wood would probably more likely be a handmade item, which we are definitely not against, you know, stocking things like that. We appreciate handmade items and love stocking things like that. However, it would take quite a bit more research to find somebody who could, in effect, turn and create those for us, because I am no pen turner, and even if I was, I do not have the time or the space to do so. So yeah, it's something we'd like, but it's something that would take quite a bit more research, and at the moment I just don't have the time to do that much research for one item, when there are many people that do sell hand-turned pens who would be able to provide you with something a lot quicker than we could. So it's not a never, it's just a not now. Jerry, she says, hi Rebecca and fellow diamond painting addicts. She says just a few things. She says, first, she loves the February trays. She said she's not had any problems with the diamonds not wanting to come out of the trays. She said she used the stopper for a hot second and then left it out. She said she ordered the tray bundle, the new passport, the new cover paper holder in royal blue, her favourite colour. So she says she'll give her purple one to her sister. A couple of cover paper sleeves. She said she didn't realise there was more than one per package. So yeah, cover paper sleeves do come in a set of 5. Most of our printed cover paper now comes with its own sleeve, and then you can buy extras for either cover paper you already have. We have a couple of cover papers that aren't all yet in the sleeves. Just we don't want to waste packaging that's already been used. So a couple of stock designs don't have it, just because we printed up a lot of stock at the start, and it was all pre-packaged. So most of them come with them now. But yeah, you can get the cover paper sleeves for maybe plain cover paper that you've got, or potentially, due to our new item coming out tomorrow, for any covered paper you may print yourself. If you trim it down to this same size, you can get some sleeves to keep them in. She says, and she got some stickers for her ABs. She says she thinks she will start putting her ABs into a photo box, like she is with her other spares. Yeah, that's something I'm also toying with myself, is whether to move the ABs into a photo box. It probably will end up happening, just because I do envision more speciality drills in my future. But I do also like the idea of having, I do also like having the idea of having some in those mini pots that I've got from fan sales, because I love the little pots for ABs, and yeah, I think for switching out ones in Paint Gem Minis, those little pots work absolutely perfect. So I think I might combine the two. They also sell some of those small pots in a clear container in Hobbycraft, though I don't think it holds as many. I think it may only hold 12 little pots, which might not be enough for me to have a good selection in. So I think I might need to stick, I think I will stick to the ones from fan sales that hold a lot more, because I do plan to grow my paint gem enhancement section in the future. Jerry also says second, she says she is not on a no buy for diamond painting, and she actually had 2 paintings in her cart for Dreamer Designs. However, she said she did need to wait for other things to work out before she purchased them, and she says that she is glad that she did. She took this week off from work, and hubby had to take his Jeep into the shop for repairs. The repairs, she says, were way more than we were expecting. She says we live at the snow line. She says our road does not get ploughed, and she doesn't have a 4-wheel drive vehicle. She says she parks her car at the grocery store, which is about a mile from the house. And hubby will usually take her to the store in the morning so that she can then go on to work. So they need their Jeep in as tip-top shape as they can get it. The shop quoted about $1,800 for the parts alone, plus $550 for labour. She says, thankfully, we found the parts needed for $350 online and ordered them. She says once they come in, she says we'll take them to the shop and they'll install them. She said it'll still cost us the labour, but we'll save them about $1,400, which is not to be sniffed at. She says we're planning on paying our property taxes this next month. She says, but thankfully they're not due until the following month. So she has a bit of money, a bit of time to get that money back for the taxes. That's weird. We don't have property tax. We have council tax, which is sort of goes towards services that the council provides and like emergency services, which we don't pay separately for. But that's a monthly thing. It is based on your house value, but everybody pays it regardless of whether you're renting or have bought. So it's not so much a tax on the property. But yeah, I wouldn't like a yearly charge of something like that. Much prefer a little monthly council tax bill instead. She says she thinks for her birthday this year she will give a list of paintings that she wants and give it to hubby, while explaining that with some companies he needs to spend more to not have to pay shipping. Love it. So go shopping with the company that I have the most on my list for first and save your budget. And then you might just have to add something to your cart for another company just because. You get some nice surprises. I like doing that for birthdays and Christmas. I've quite often done that. It's gone, okay, these are what I like. Like this last year it was Lego. Other years it's been other stuff. Some years, you know, it could be crafts and things like that. And I just go, here's a really big long list of things that I would like but in no way need. And they can just pick what they want off that list, which means I get a nice surprise. I don't necessarily get everything on the list. Depends, you know, if I've got a really long list or there's actually not much that I want. because they're all sorts of stuff that I don't need at all. They're just either upgrades to something that I've already got, or, you know, something that's a bit more of a splurge or a treat that I would never just buy on a general day. And it's worked out really well, because then I'm still surprised over what I get, but I like what I get. Works well for us. She said, third, thank you and the AMZ family for everything that you do for all of us. She says she appreciates and loves listening to the WIP and Waffles. She says, while she's dotting along with me. It's so nice to know that there's a load of other people diamond painting along with me while I dot away, especially considering I am still on the first colour. After all the confetti we've had in all the other sections on this painting, it feels really weird to be doing a section that is primarily one colour. There are other colours in here, but it's primarily one colour. I know things aren't like this going further down. I've seen the confetti in the rest of sort of the building and stuff like that. But I know there are some more sections a bit like this going further on, which is partly why I saved them to the end, so that I would have some sections that get completed quicker near the end of the painting when I'm excited to finish. But yeah, we'll see if I end up with any other blocks like this that maybe help me get a bit further before next week. Fee, she says hi. She says she is pausing the video to write this. She says she's funny. She said it's funny. She says, because I get it when you get kits completed that you have no home for yet and not sure when. She says it got slightly worse this as when last year, her mother-in-law passed last year. She got hers back to her, so she's ended up with more diamond paintings when her mother-in-law passed. I am sorry to hear that. She says she lives in a 2-bed house and she has a lot more kits than she has walls. She says, but she still absolutely loves doing them. Also, she says she does find framing them a challenge. She's used the magnetic frames, but she does prefer proper frames, which I do get. I do think a proper frame can be exceptionally nice for a painting, but I do think on some paintings the magnetic sort of bars work really well. With White Christmas it worked really well. Works absolutely perfect and is practical because I can put it away between Christmas and New Year. Between Christmas and New Year it can go away until next Christmas. So it's very, very practical to have the bars for that one. But some paintings definitely scream for the full size frame. She says, so she does go charity shop hunting for them. As the longer she does the hobby, she feels her canvas is getting bigger. She says frames are not cheap, so sadly a lot are just rolled up. She says also in the 3 years she's been doing the hobby, she says you wouldn't believe how many frames she has broken in the process. She says she needs this year to be buying frames, not kits. She thinks her husband would be a lot happier with that too. Maybe you need to look for some frames or have a collection of paintings as well. If you struggle with size, maybe have a couple of paintings where, especially if you can find a nice quality frame, especially in the likes of a charity shop, thrift shop type find, is actually try framing, either framing 2 diamond paintings in it, and I don't mean side by side, I mean back to back. having 2 paintings in it that you can maybe switch them around every now and then, so it stores one and it displays the other, if that makes sense. And maybe have 2 in a frame, or have one rolled up and one in a frame, but you know they're the same size, so you can switch them over. Just a random thought. I'm just going through the colours at the moment that are in this same tray that I got the square one out of. So I'm now moving on to flowers, because flowers has moved into being with squares as of last week. So yeah, maybe that's an option as well. So you can in effect use the frame for 2 paintings. It hangs in the same place. So that's all good. And you just change it either halfway through the year or every season or something like that, and be able to cycle the diamond paintings that you're doing. Poppy says, hi Rebecca. She says she loves diamond painting while watching my WIP and Waffles. She says she has a question. She says, where do you get your diamond art paintings from? She says she's looking to get some more. She says, but she doesn't know the best websites to purchase them from. My top personally favourite diamond painting sites for getting paintings from, quality, customer service, all that sort of things. I probably have 3 top, going into maybe a few more that are still very high quality paintings as well. And then I have a few budget sites that are sort of my favourites for getting some of the more budget paintings from. So my personal top 3, quality, customer service, all wrapped into one type thing are Diamond Art Studio UK, where this one's from, Dreamer Designs for the other big ones, absolutely love their AB placement, and Paint Gem. Paint Gem only do the mini ones, but quality wise and customer service wise, they're in my top 3. So yeah, they're my top 3, and I have, you know, while I do unboxings for a couple of them and have affiliate links and discount codes for all 3 of them, I don't work with Dreamer Designs as such. I buy all mine from there, but I have also bought from the other 2 companies as a customer, and yeah, had the customer service side of things, even if it has grown into sort of a little bit more partnership-ish, if that makes sense. So yeah, they're my top 3. But then otherwise, for quality and a nice quality diamond painting, you can get those as well from Carrot Art if they ship to you, or Aloha and Diamond Art Club. They're also sort of 3 heavily featured in my stash, I would say. Yeah, I'm sort of having a look at the boxes that I've got in my stash, and they're heavily featured in there, and they're really nice quality ones. More budget sites with good quality. My 2 highest recommendations would be Fansales and Coup Deals. And my 2 sort of go-tos with that one. I've had no problems with canvases and things from them. I do like Evermoment on AliExpress as well, as a customer. I haven't ordered one for a while, but the quality has always been superb from them. So there's probably more of an in-between. They're not full on budget, though they are budget friendly, but the quality is really good from them as well. And there's probably more. that I've forgotten, but they're sort of the top ones that spring to mind and the ones that are in my stash. Susan, she says it's coming along quite nicely. She says she's just started a new 40 by 50 this morning. It only has 25 colours and it's an older one from AliExpress, so she's hoping for the best. Oh, I've actually got a bubble in that diamond and it sort of caught my eye on the way, but I didn't fully grasp it. So let me just dig that one out and pop a new one in. Definitely easier to get diamonds out with tweezers, especially when they're squares. But when they tend to have an air bubble that I've missed, I just tend to poke my tweezer into the air bubble and pull it out that way. Leave it out. Yeah, she says, thank you for sharing. Thank you, Susan. Depending on where you've got it from on AliExpress, if you've got it from one of the good companies, I'm sure it'll be good quality anyway. There's not many paintings that I've had that have been absolutely awful, though I have had a few, but not many that have been what I'd call dreadful, should we say. Laundry Stitcher, she says she loves the angle on the colour on this section of the painting. She says it catches her eye. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this one. She says, love these. The transition is wonderful. She says she loves these WIP and Waffles and loves all the paintings that I do. She says, do these diamonds have the point on the top of them? She says, or are they like a bubble? She says she's never done one like that. She says, thanks for all that you do. There is a couple of different shapes on the diamonds on this one. I'm not sure if it's easy to say. It's not so much a bubble, like some round ones are basically smooth on the top. They're just like somebody's taken a ball and cut it in half, like they are full on smooth. These do have sort of chunks out of them, if that makes sense. Like somebody's taken a block of cheese and tried to make it into a circle by cutting off straight lines all the way around. It's probably the easiest way to say it. But it is a mixture of some that are like they've cut off the top and then shaped the sides a little bit. And then there's some that are more pointed at the top because the angles are a little bit closer. Does that make sense? I'm kind of hoping that that makes sense. It might not, but yeah, I'm hoping it does. Right, I have got through that section a whole lot quicker than what I thought. I haven't actually turned my light pad on with this one either. And it does normally make a difference, but I think the colours I've been working on, it's not made a huge difference. So I have just peeled off this next section. I'm not going to be doing all of this. Because I say I do have family visiting. I was actually going to see if I had any more of this L that needed filling in, and I actually don't. So I might just do a little bit more. And I don't normally like doing this, going back to a colour that I've already done. But I feel like filling in the rest of some of this red and stuff is probably the most productive way to sort of keep going on this WIP and Waffle for a little bit longer, because I feel like it's a little short yet and I've got a lot of questions that need answering. So I could stop at any point now, that's your warning, but we'll see how many more diamonds I can get on. Oh no, I've read that one. Hadn't marked it off yet. Claire, she says, what are enhancement drills? She says she's heard them mentioned a few times. She says, are they like special drills? Yeah, enhancement drills is probably the easiest way to describe a few different types of drills that you can get, or diamonds that you can get, that are different from these standard ones. So enhancement drills includes AB diamonds, rhinestone diamonds. You can get diamonds with glitter on. You can get what Diamond Art Club call fairy dust drills. So yeah, there's a few different types of diamonds that you can get. You can get glow in the dark drills. You can get neon drills. So enhancement drills sort of covers all of those. They're ones that further enhance your painting. And yeah, it's just the easiest way to club them all together. But yeah, it covers all of those. I've still got a few Sunday WIP. I'm behind on Sunday WIP and Waffle comments. I can feel once I've kitted up my new painting next week that I'll be doing a longer WIP and Waffle the week after, just to catch up on painting, just to catch up on comments. Rebecca says she's been diamond painting since July of 2023. Ooh, quite a newbie. Welcome to the club. She says she's completed about 3 kits. She says, however, she has had A-levels and uni in the middle of all of this. That definitely takes your time. She says so she hasn't been able to diamond paint much. She says she has cheap, probably unlicensed kits for uni, as she doesn't want expensive Diamond Art Club ones at uni. She has 5 Diamond Art Club kits at the moment, and she's getting more for her birthday, buying 4 of the ones she wants for her birthday herself, and asking my mum, her mum and dad, to buy some of the cheaper ones for her. She says most of my kits are Harry Potter related, as she loves Harry Potter. Yeah, Megan's done a few of those. Excuse me. She said she thought that she would buy all the Harry Potter kits, but she actually doesn't like all of them. So she doesn't see the point in buying them if she doesn't like them, which is a very valid point, in my opinion. She says she's already a Ruby member with Diamond Art Club with her 5 kits. Not that she uses the perks, she says, as she doesn't buy kits often. She said she'd probably use her points to get $50 off or £40 if they use the conversion from US dollars to pounds. Yeah, it's a bit weird, sort of the pricing that comes off with that, because they still do sort of charge you the VAT with the UK stuff. I know when I used my points, it was all very weird the way it sort of converted off. You just have to go by what your basket says. I do wish I could pay in USD. Sorry about that, I didn't realise my battery was that low. Yeah, I kind of wish that you could pay in USD on Diamond Art Club, even if, you know, they incorporate the VAT price. I get that. I'm happy for them to incorporate the VAT. But I do kind of wish that I would have the option to pay in USD sometimes. Just so that I could see what the prices sort of were, what I was being charged. But yeah, you'll get some off. It just doesn't equate to feeling like it's saving you quite as much as the actual voucher, just due to the VAT that we have to pay. Cat Lady, she says she too has the art dot drawers. When they were ordered, she says she was going to use them on her desk for spare diamonds. She says, but then she thought it would be a waste. But she hasn't yet decided what she wants to use them for. Okay, this is one of the times I'm going to tell myself off for trying to use up the last of the diamonds and just tip some more out, because there wasn't quite enough to complete all of the ones that I needed. So I'd have had to tip myself out a few more anyway. So rather than fighting to get them the right way up, I've just tipped them out. She says they're still in the box that they arrived in. She says she doesn't do paint gems, but she does have some large paintings. She said when she gets settled into her next craft space, she will have a think/planning session and reorganise it all. That's always fun. I mean, these art dot drawers, when I got sent these, I had no idea what I was using them for. I have thought about splitting it so that I have the top on top of 2 of the drawers, and then putting the other 2 drawers somewhere else or using them for something else. Because my desk in this craft room is sort of at standing height anyway. I stand when I film. So with 4 drawers, it then makes it even taller when it's on my desk. But at the moment, it's currently being used for paint gem minis, and it's working awesome. But I do like the idea though of using it for my ABs and special drills. It's just because they're the taller bottles, which actually might still work out well. To have them in the taller bottles, I don't know. I'm still weighing up my options. I still have things I may use it for in the future, but at the moment, it being used to kit up. I've kit up 3 paint gem mini sets in it, which you will see the video of that this week. Or no, you'd have seen it already. By the time this video's up, it will it? Oh, I can't remember now. When was it scheduled for? My brain sometime. Okay, yes, you will have seen it. You will have seen it by the time this video is up. So yeah, I'm currently using my art drop drawers for paint gem minis, and it's working for the moment. So we'll see if it stays or if I change it up to something else. Time will tell. I reserve the right to change my mind. Always. Okay, got all of that one. I don't think I'm going to do many more colours than the ones I've already done. And I'll stick with all this bitty stuff on my next, because then I can still stick my cover paper down as well. So I'll make it work. Susan, she says at an hour and 23 minutes in, she says, too funny. She says earlier in this WIP and Waffle, she says when you said that you wanted to rearrange your diamonds, she thought to herself, oh, I hope she does it on camera. She says then when you started to wrap up the video, looked at the timer and saw there was still lots of minutes left. She was so thrilled that I did decide to rearrange my diamonds on the video. She says she likes the idea of organising the drills by symbol colour. Well, yes, it was a bit of a wacky WIP and Waffle last week. I did it much later at night than I normally film. I felt like I was a little bit more of my weird self, should we say. A little bit more of my weird side came out there, but it worked well. And I think doing the change, at first I wasn't going to. It was like, no, and I've got to grips with where the symbols are. But then after having a break, after doing it, you know, as my everyday diamond painting, before I kitted up Kenny the koala, and then having a break and it only being a painting that I did for my Thursday WIP and Waffle. While I haven't forgotten where all the symbols were, I didn't feel having them in the same order was quite as important as it had been. in the past. So yeah, mixing it up has actually worked really well. I've only had one session on this painting since. I actually had a night last week where I was like, I am diamond painting tonight. Like, I hadn't diamond painted for 3 or 4 days, and it was like, I am diamond painting tonight. I'm sitting down and I'm diamond painting. I don't care what's going on in the rest of the house. It's happening. So yeah, I did get to use the new setup by having the diamonds and working on the colours first, and it did work really, really well. Even the colours that are quite faint, so this square symbol, when the light pad is on, the square in yellow, it's actually fairly faint. It's clear to see, it's not a blurry symbol or anything, but compared to some of these heavier blue ones or these big arrow ones that are in different colours, you do see it less. However, as you start working through putting the yellow and the blue symbols on, and as I work through just that one tray with all of the coloured symbols on, these then pop out a bit more. And yeah, they're quite bright before you start looking at black. I don't find that I miss putting down these lighter yellow symbols because of the black symbols surrounding them. No matter how dark those black symbols are, they don't make me miss the light yellows. So having them separate has definitely worked. Definitely worked. Right, what do I want? I want this diamond one. Melissa, she says, the glare is not a problem for me, which is awesome because I completely forgot about maybe doing this one flat this week. Maybe I'll try and do it flat next week. I told you it was late at night. There was no chance of anything sinking in. Maybe I will try and do this flat next week, and then you'll have a couple to compare, and then you can decide whether flat or at an angle works better. She says also, if she may ask, which of course you may ask, I will try and answer. She says, why do you opt not to put my Paint Gem minis back to back in each sleeve? She says she's just started hers and doing a similar setup, and she is just curious. She says, thanks for everything that you do. So the reason I only put one Paint Gem mini per sleeve is purely because of the thickness the book would get to if I did them back to back. So I could take out more sleeves out of the book and in effect cut more out and put them back to back, and they would take the same amount of space. However, then I feel like I'd be cutting out too many pages out of the books just to make sure that the paint gems fit. So I prefer to have one per page, mainly for thickness, so that it doesn't get too chunky and just start splaying out, because of course the spine is made for paper being put in it, not something that is 5 times thicker than paper, which is what you get by the time you have a canvas and diamonds. It might even be more than 5 times, but you know, it's a lot thicker than a piece of paper would be. So yeah, I personally prefer to put one in per sheet, which means when you turn the page, you're not distracted by a painting on the left when it doesn't. I'm still only going to put the same number of paintings in, so I may as well let each one stand alone on its own and shine on its own than have them side by side and potentially distract from each other, if that makes sense. Grey Legrand says, do it 3 at once. I did it the next day. I think, yeah, it must have been the next day because I did this whip and waffle rather late on, but I also got very excited for potentially doing 3 paint gem minis at once. So I have actually filmed that. And I think it goes up this week. Oh, now it's making me, yeah, it goes up this week. It's gone up already. See, this is the thing when I occasionally film one in advance, because I'm now filming this next week's and I forget that I actually kitted it up last week. But you guys will have only seen it this week. See, that's why I don't do things like that very often. It confuses me very, very easily. It's confusing. I wanted this bright squash. Is this actually in this one? It is. Okay, I'm just going to do these 2. I will leave the rest of the comments for next week's whip and waffle, and we'll see how far we've got. But as I say, family is coming soon. So that's it for today's. We've still got a decent chunk done, and it means then when I do my next section, I can peel back both of these and maybe get some of the same colours in as I go further down. But anyway, that is done for now. Thank you all so much for watching and for joining me today, and I'll speak to you all again soon.